Hey there, Outliers. Niiamah Ashong here, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. Welcome to the Outliers Edge podcast here, where we bring on phenomenal people who are leading their world and give us a chance to see how they're doing it differently and grow from there. Today, we have an outlier. His name is Floyd Spence, and he's just one of those such people, just an amazing leader and someone that I am actively excited to bring to each of you here. Floyd, thank you so much for making the time for this today, but more importantly, thanks for taking the time over your career to build yourself into something that just has so much to offer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a joy, it's a pleasure, it's a delight, it's an honor to be in your space, Niiamah. And I just look forward in the conversation that we will have today.
Yeah, same here, same here. Floyd, I want to start things off by just sharing a bit about like how you've shown up for me so far. You good with that?
Yeah, of course, of
All right,
course.
cool. So I don't know what I'm going to say, but like, Floyd, I think that the thing that I get about you here is that you wear excellence as if it's like a your casual wear, if that makes sense. Like like you don't have to get dressed up for it. And what I think about that when I think about that, it's like there's a level of the game that you choose to play that
Mhm.
is both exciting but also done at a top-notch fashion. And the thing is, I know you work hard because we all like it comes with it, but at the same time, it feels really good with you. Like I come into space, I'm like, all right, like we're gonna have a top-notch conversation. I know that you play with people who are playing a really huge game, and it just like the feel that I get is that it's effortless. And I guess on the same level of game, I was telling you a little bit earlier, I feel like we play on the same team. And so
Yeah,
I just want to just as you come in here, I'm grateful for the experiences that I've had of you so far, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of you with everyone. Thanks for being here.
yeah. I appreciate the compliment, man. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, it's always hard work to sometimes people look at the surface and they say, oh, that guy's gifted, that guy's talented. But a lot of people don't see what's happening behind the scene and the work that people have to put in. And so, yeah, appreciate the compliment. Hard work brought me here.
Yeah, well, let's play with this. And if you're good with it, I'd love to like pull back the curtain a bit so that people get a chance to see that. Because I think that the outliers here, one, they know it. They know the truth of what you're saying. And then the other part is that it's hard to find people who actually get what it takes to continue getting the results that they have
Yeah.
while keeping things in a good like with good spirit. So we'll tease that on and like and leave that for us a bit. What I'd love to do is, can you give outliers a bit of context about you? Like, let us know about who you are and the game that you're currently playing.
Yeah. Well, I'm passionate about people, purpose, and just helping people being their best self. In terms of my journey, my background, I originally came from the island. I'm an islander, the island of Jamaica. Came to Canada in 2003. I have studied human behavior, psychology, leadership, and I currently am a coach, a life coach, a professional speaker, and I help people just be their best, unleash their potential. And so I've been working in this space as a coach for approximately close to 2 decades now. And high achievers, people who are really willing to go to the next level in their personal and professional life. I'm the guy they come to see.
Yeah, I love this here, and like, and we curate that here as outliers. We raise our hands and we're like, all right, look, we're consistently looking at levels, right? And that the thing is an important thing because a lot of other spaces I go to, they're like, how to move forward. Like, let me teach you how
Mhm.
to like build this landing page, or like here goes what
Yeah,
an email sequence is. And I'm like, if I want to move forward, I get that, but there's very few spaces, very few people who can help me continue to level up. And I
yeah.
and like and I get that distinction here. Like, it's one of the things that we really like focus on here at Outliers Ed. And so it's nice to be like with brethren that's like also going about it here. Let me ask you as we're entering this conversation, I like to keep things real. So in which ways right now are you like leveling up? Where's like your next level? What are some of the things that you're like heading towards right now?
That's a great question. Self-mastery is the work of a lifetime, so I'm constantly looking for ways to grow. And I'm actually uh, working on uh, the draft of my next book. Against all odds is the title, the working title, at least for now, Against All Odds. And so that's a project that I'm currently working on, and hopefully I can get it out um, next year sometime.
Nice, nice. We'll go into some other things, but I'm curious, like, what is, you said your next book, and I love this stuff here because it's like, well, that implies that there's at least another book there. Have you've written other things in the past?
Yeah, I've written two books. So the first book I wrote is about relationship, and and the second one is about personal development. Exceed Yourself is the last book I wrote. It's about really unlocking your potential and really giving people the tools that are required to set your goals and to achieve those goals accordingly.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So Floyd, like if you're good with this, I'm curious now because you're out there doing a lot. You speak, you do different things like that. So something like says to me, okay, if you're taking the time and if you're taking the time to write a book, you've already done two of them. If you're taking the time to write a
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
something about going against all odds was really be calling you right now here. Can you
Yeah.
speak to that? Like, because you could have written a book about anything, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is you didn't have to read a book. Like you're out in front of people, you're working with your clients. You didn't have to take the time to say, this is important enough for me to codify
Yeah.
forever. So can you tell me a little bit about what excites you about that in particular and like what maybe led you down this path to be thinking, hey, this is something that I want to continue to bring out into the world.
Right. Of course, the it's a work in progress, but the whole gist, the concept behind and the thought behind this book is simply this. As human beings, we encounter challenges every single day. Now, you will never be able to go through this life without some challenges. People have issues around finances. People have issues around relationship. People have issues around employment. Lots of issues. There will always be obstacles and stumbling blocks in individuals' ways. There could be internal challenges. There could be external challenges. But the guy who is going to defy the odds is the person who is going to be willing to persevere and not give up. And so that's going to be the essence of what I'm going to be putting out there. How to really face the challenges, overcome those challenges, develop that kind of mental toughness, resilience, and pursue irrespective of what life may throw at you, and ultimately overcome.
I appreciate this here. So Outliers, Floyd didn't know I was going to be talking about this book out here, like and but like it's part of the reason why I asked it because I can feel the alignment, I can feel the energy that comes through,
Yeah,
right? And I think as we're talking, like one of the things I said, I believe you, Floyd, right? And I think that's really important. It's one of those things where it's
yeah,
like I get that you didn't just wake up yesterday, watch a seminar or something, and say like personal development and like being the best you is the best thing that you can do. Like you
yeah,
dedicated yourself to this, right?
right.
So I want to spend some time just like being in a bit of what I call distinctions, right? So you talk about mastery, right? And when I think about mastery, I think about it's all about nuance, right?
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
and so the nuance right now that I want to tease apart is you talk about playing with like high achievers, higher performers here. What do you find to be something that a high achiever like needs and wants that's different than like let's say your average achiever? Like, and it's not to say that people don't want to make big impacts, so on and so forth. But there's some people out there that are like have a track record of actually achieving it. So what would you say
Yeah,
is like the distinctions or some of the nuances you see around the struggles that they face compared to like, I don't know, another group of people who are like, yeah, we want to make progress, we want to move forward, but they're not actually leveling up.
yeah. Well, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just a little extra.
I love that. I see. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Keep
yeah,
going, Floyd.
yeah. It's just a little extra. And so average people, they have this dream, they have the dream, they have a desire, but they're not willing to do what it takes. The high achievers, they are extraordinary because they're willing to go the extra mile. They're willing to put in the extra hour. They're willing to put in the extra rep. They're willing to just go the extra mile and do whatever it takes. So for the high achievers, failure is not really an option. They decide that okay, If I fail, I'm coming back tomorrow. For the average people, ordinary people, they fail and they give up. But the people who I work with in terms of high achievers, they're relentless. They have a hunger. They want it and they want it bad. And so they're looking for ways to achieve it, not ways to give up, not reasons to give up in essence, but they know that they're going to encounter challenges, and they're saying there has to be a way. As
Mm.
Nelson Mandela once said, it's always impossible until somebody does it. And so the people, the who are extraordinary are the people who will not take no for an answer, but they're people who, if they can't find a way, they will make a way.
Yeah, you have me like leaning back in my seat, like I'm nodding. I'm like, yeah, because you're actually you're speaking to me, and like
Yeah,
Floyd, I think there's a desire for me here today to like, I think you're incredible, all right, and I like there's a
appreciate
desire for
that.
me to like, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's because you've been showing up incredible, right?
Yes.
And you've done the track
Yeah.
record of things along the way, so it's not like a made up thing of mine. I'm like, okay, it's very easy to see, like he's outlining, like, the I leaned back because I think I felt heard and seen. I was like, yes, that especially when you said that element of like, well, there is a way. I and if it's not something everyone else is doing, then I will make a way.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
feels that I actually really appreciate that because that feels like a really interesting distinction. Because I'll often talk about people who want to do it their way, and I don't think it
Yeah.
like when you brought this in here, I'm like, oh, there is a bit of a nuance in there. It's not necessarily I got to do it my way. But I do know that there is a way, and nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to be relentless until that way has been
Yeah.
figured out.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this because I know you're a coach. Like we have coaches come on into the platform. I spend my time around a lot of different coaches, but I think that there's something here around um but to play a little bit more still in the nuance around like when someone is when someone knows that there's a way and they're relentless in it, right? What are ways that like you specifically as a coach are able to like support them? Because in one sense it's like, oh, they're gonna get it done no matter what. They're relentless,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. So I'm curious about like like how you get to play with them, given that that's the case. Would you mind speaking on that? And if I need to make
Yeah.
that more real, I can definitely tell you about the times where I run into like roadblocks with other people who are
Yeah.
coaches, and I'm like, you're missing this. So I'm
Yeah.
curious about like let me know if that would help.
Yeah. Well, I'm big on transformation, which
Mm,
means that it's not just a change that's going to last for a little while. It has to come from deep within. And so when I show up to work with people, I am framing my work with people within my own experience, my own context, not just my academic studies, my academic exploits, but also my own experience. Now, my experience is simply this, Niiamah. I came from a background where uh, there were eight of us in the family, plus my parents, and we came from humble beginnings. We didn't have a lot to go around, and my parents couldn't read or write. And we struggled as children and going to school. I failed in high school quite a lot. I tell people all the time, up until the 10th grade, the second year in the 10th grade, I was really swimming below sea levels. I always get C's and below. And a lot of people had written me off, but something happened. There was a shift in my thinking, shift in my mindset, a shift in my belief system, which really set me up for success. And when that shift happened, I spent 2 years in the 10th grade. So I wasn't doing so great. But in my second year in the 10th grade, a shift took place mentally. And from there on, I went on to college without having the financial support. So I knew that once I have the belief, then anything was possible. I was able to complete a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctoral degree, running my own business right now and helping to change and transform lives. So, to answer your question about how do we do this, three things. Number one, you've got to dream it. Without a dream, there's pretty much nothing that you're going to accomplish. You've got to imagine. Walt Disney called it imagineering. He says, have an imagine, have a desire in your mind, have an idea as to what you want, and then set out on a journey to create it. So desire is important, but having that dream it, hold it in your mind. And once you have that dream, the next thing for you to do is to plan it. So dream it, plan it, write it down. What is it you want to accomplish? What's your outcome goal? What's your process goal? So dream it, plan it, and then do it. Execution is king. You've got to set your action or get in motion and do things in order for you to achieve that particular goal. Because if you don't take action, there's no way you're going to be able to hit that goal. So execution is very important. So those are the three things I typically help my clients to wrap their minds around as they pursue greatness. And in the midst of all of that, the mindset is going to be critical. The belief system that you hold, because as Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're usually right. So in a nutshell, that's how I show up with people I work with.
Yeah, Floyd, and I hope you don't mind me spitballing with you on this here because
No.
it's like it's fun to play with people who get it. Like, and when I
Yeah.
say get it in this place, I mean like who everything you're saying is lighting me up here. One of the things that came to me as you were talking, it was just a distinction that there was like an aha for me as we were talking. I was like, oh, I used to do this, I forgot about this, and as you said, it became clear, which is like, and I'd like to get your take on it. So like this is not gospel, but I'd love to get your take on it. What got for me, what I got here was if I'm relentless, if I'm an action taker, if I'm going to get it done no matter what anyway, all right. And a lot of times doing isn't the issue, right? I might keep doing, I'm doing things right now, and I'm not getting the results that I want. And I think
Yeah.
from hearing you right here, when you starting off with the transformation and you're looking at the mindset and such, what you're doing is that you're actually changing who they how they see themselves, who they're being, and
Yeah.
those being the way that they see themselves actually change the actions that they're taking. I'm thinking about when I went from not being a father to being a father. It's like I was still the same person, but the
Yeah.
moment that child came out, actually, like
Yeah.
what I learned later, it was like the moment that we found out we were pregnant, I was actually a father. Like everything started
Yeah.
shifting then, and
Yeah.
it's like I'm still taking action, but I needed to shift how I looked at myself, how like what I valued, all these things here, so that now my actions would be in alignment with the goals that I had here. So tell me as like that's something that came through for me where I realized I'm like, oh, that's what I mean by moving
Yeah.
forward. Everyone's trying to get what actions you need to take, but there's a part of this that says like, who are you being so that the actions actually align with that. What are your thoughts on that? Like let's
Yeah.
jump off from there.
Absolutely. So in order for you to have, you must do. In order for you to do, you must be. Be, do, have. We're human being. So it's very important for people to understand that your belief system will determine your thoughts. Your thoughts will determine your decisions. Your decisions will determine your actions, and your actions will determine your outcome. Say, if you want to change your outcome, you have to go back and change your belief system. That's why people don't get what they want, they get who they are. So
Can
it's
you wait, say
very,
that one more time? Because it's like that one's fresh to me. People don't get what they want, they what?
they get who they are.
Hmm. Hmm.
You
Outliers, take a
attract,
second with that real quick here. Let that sit in. What are you getting? And how does that a reflection of who you are right now? Like take that in. Floyd, take it away from here.
yeah. So when you look at the results you're getting, it's an indication of the belief system that you're holding because no one can rise above their belief system or how they view themselves. So a lot of people are really transmitting bad energy into the world, and so they are really attracting things to themselves that on a subconscious level they are desiring. That's why it's so important for people to be aware of what they're thinking and what their belief systems are. Because if you're not aware of it, you can't change it. But a lot of times we show up and we're showing up and we're actually attracting things that we don't want because of the signals we're sending out. So that belief system has to be changed in order for you to really get what you desire.
I love putting this into this space here, Outliers, because uh, I'm very aware when I bring in the coach to come on onto the show and come and talk here, like where like where they sit, what you've heard, so on and so forth. And like I'm hearing nuance with you, Floyd, that is like that's showing up for me in a really meaningful way. So like looking at those belief systems here and playing with that element of like of stepping into whatever else is next for you. Let's let's get this real. I'm actually really happy that you told us your story here because right now what I'm doing is I'm focusing on like the high achievement part of it, but like realistically, like I don't want to paint like an overly rosy picture of like Floyd's just amazing and like that's because that's you're human, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so it's so you're taking me here when you're like you had to take the 10th grade twice and now you've gone on to get a doctorate, written multiple books. You're on your third book right now. You're working with high performers and high achievers out in the world, making really big moves. Tell me a little bit about, from your standpoint here, what was some of like the belief systems that needed to change for you? You said there was a shift that happened here, and I know that like there was you've been doing a lot of things since. So you can either go back to 10th grade and like, hey, here are some of the belief systems that shifted there, or you might take us to a recent time where you're like, hey, I needed to level up. I wanted to get something else. And this is the belief I had beforehand. And this is the belief that I adopted afterwards. And this is the results we got from there. Would help make it real for us. Would you mind?
Yeah. So there was a self-confidence issue. Of course, self-confidence is about believing in your ability. So I had issues with that. Self-esteem was another issue that I grappled with. How you feel about yourself. And self-concept was also another issue, how I viewed myself. So I didn't put much value on myself because, I thought due to the fact that I came from humble beginnings, then I was not that important in society. And because of that, I also felt like I could not achieve much. So I had a very limiting belief. My belief system was that, you know what, you other people are much better than you. You're not cut out for these things. You will never be able to achieve certain things. But then when I stepped back and I said, you know what, if one man can do that, then another man can do it. And now I'm a man. I'm just reasoning with myself. Consequently, I believe that no one is better than me. And so I shifted, I made that shift, that mental shift, that shift in my mindset, uh, which in essence is a growth mindset that says, even though I might have come from humble beginnings, then whatever skills that are required to achieve this particular goal, all I have to do is to go learn that. I learned to walk, I learned to read and write. Guess what? I can learn the skills to achieve greatness as well.
So Outliers, I want to invite you right now to think through like what is the belief system you have right now that's working for you. And Floyd, as I'm asking Outliers to do this, I'm gonna actually invite you to think about something more recently that's come on, right? So like, 'cause I feel like and it might yeah, let me ask it because I know we keep growing, right? We keep like and we keep hitting different levels. So um yeah, I'll come to you for a recent example here. And Outliers, I'm going to ask you to think about something for right now. For the challenges you're facing right now, take a look at your belief system. What are some of the things that you're seeing with yourself? One of the things, Floyd, that I really appreciate about where you're coming from was like I thought you were going to be like, oh well, others thought that I wasn't performing well. Others like the external perception of me was that I was a below C student, or below
Yeah,
C level student, right? But what I'm hearing from you is like you're like, oh, actually, no, you yourself believed it. You yourself were thinking that way, and then you were just showing up in accordance with that out there. And so I want to see how that's been playing for you more recently. I can share some on my own, but Outliers, I want to invite you to look at it, whether it's a massive thing that got you started at the very beginning, or for where you are right now. What's the belief? What are some of the things in your belief system that are giving you what you got? Just take that time. Take the time to think about this. We'll make this real here. Floyd, can you make it real with something you got, and then I'll be fair. I'll play as well and share something
yeah.
that's like currently working on me because I think if we don't make this real, just it's all nice, but like it's the actual application, and that I think that's where it really comes down to.
Yeah, listen, our biggest battle is the one we fight with ourselves.
Mhm.
You know, our biggest enemy is the one that looks back at us when we look in the mirror. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. So one has to really come to grips with the struggle within and not so much what other people think about you, because what other people think about you is not as important as what you think about yourself. Because what you think about yourself is what's going to really elevate you or really cause you not to achieve what you want to achieve in life.
Yeah.
Now, every day I wake up, and this is the truth, every
Yeah.
day I wake up, it's a battle.
Yeah.
It's a battle for territory. There is always the intrusive thoughts that show up that will say, you're not good enough, you will not be able to do that. Because for me personally, I have big dreams, big aspirations, and sometimes this inner critic will show up and say, really, you want that? Do you think you can do that? And so I have to really counteract that. I have to intercept that thought on a daily basis to say, yeah, I can do that. It may be difficult, but it's possible.
You see outliers, like this is part of why I like bringing together high achievers, high performers in this space, because most people will look on the outside and think, oh, he wakes up every day and like everything just like lines up, you know. But in reality, we are all human, and what I'm hearing from you is you have like your different systems and different ways that you go about your day to keep intercepting. I like that word intercept, where it's like it's being thrown, but you're blocking it. You're catching it before it gets to
Yeah,
something deep rooted there.
yeah,
Yeah, like this conversation is energizing to me because I recognize on my like there are, I'll use this example right here. It took a while for me to get back on a pot. Well, actually, let's look ahead. There's a place for me that's like, oh, I remember what it was like to be a thought leader, but like now, like, am I really a movement leader? Am I really a thought leader? Like, what do I have to say now? Like those kinds of questions. I'm like, I know technically, I can hit record on a phone and create and like bank out like 5 hours of content, no problem. But it's like, but there's a inner question in the mind of
yeah,
like, am I actually showing up as thought leader? Who wants to hear what I have to say? Have I even done anything recently that's worth saying? You know, and I like to put this into space here. Like we can play with it, we can let it go. Like, but I think I like looking at this because and speaking to it because I feel like a lot of people who are listening here, they've done their one-on-one level of 101 level of like the self-development. You know, they've been to
mhm,
the seminars, they've been to the things, they're
yeah,
in the action, and they're like, why isn't it working? You know,
yeah, yeah,
like why isn't it working? And they're in that space. So I like to try and keep making it real as
yeah.
we go along, just to keep playing with it. What did you hear from what I said, or what's flowing through you, Floyd, around any part of our conversation so far?
Well, it seems as if you are really tuning in. You're locked into some of these concepts, and especially around thinking and one's thoughts and how the thoughts can become words, and the words can become flesh. you know.
Ooh,
So
ooh, ooh,
I'm glad
ooh.
to know that you're locked in, and because the thoughts are very critical, and I can tell that you're also thinking about some of the things that are being passed on through this medium right now. What do you think? What do you think? Am I
Yeah.
onto something?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the reflection, you know.
Mm,
You'll find my like uh it's like I just like having conversations, but it's like it's I feel like when you're at playing at the top of your game or you're creating a path that hasn't been created beforehand, like it's like, well, how do you like there's no specific step to follow, you know?
yeah,
It's like it's not like you put the brick in this space. It's like you have to just wave your hand with the machete. And by the
yeah,
way, like how do we strengthen your arm to be able to endure the additional whacks that you have to take to create this path because everyone else is walking down a paved road, you
yeah,
know?
Yeah.
And I look at that and I see like, oh man, I'm over here struggling with this machete to carve this new path. I'm thinking about my peers who went the the tried way, that so on and so forth, that was already been laid out for them. Like they should be moving really fast,
Yeah.
but they're going to somewhere different, you know.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so that's what's playing out for me. It's this element of really speaking to like some of the unique challenges that I think show up when you're in a high performing mode. It's like you're going to do the work,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
going to do the work provided everything else is aligned. But if you're not, I guess in my mind, Floyd, I'm like, if I can at least show a bit on my end of like, I might talk to someone about what do I need to put inside of my community.
Mm.
But the
Mm.
real question is, what am I doubting about myself right now? Such that I
Yeah.
wouldn't just go and just do the thing that I know I want to do anyway, and then
Yeah.
find the path to make that work.
Yeah.
That's what's playing out for me here, and just being in the realness of
Yeah.
that, because I just, it's not often that I get to spend time with someone who's looking at the nuances or looking at the mastery of being at that higher echelon
Yeah.
of operation. So that's what's playing out for me. Anything jumping off for you? Otherwise, I'll ask you a different question coming in.
Yeah. You see, and that the doubt that people the doubt that people have is is coming from a place where they were once criticized, they were once told that they couldn't do certain things. And so as they think about this, their dreams, their goals, their aspiration, those subconscious conditioning now show up. As a matter of fact, the brain wants to protect you from hurting yourself. And so because you were told so many times not to do certain things because you may hurt yourself, it may create a trigger response to say, don't do that because you may hurt yourself on a subconscious level. But fear in and of itself is not a bad thing. There are some people who say, you must not be afraid of things, but it's okay to be afraid, because fear is your internal alarm system warning you of imminent danger or possible danger. But if you checked and realized that, okay, my life's not threatened, then go for it. That's why we like courageous people, because courageous people are people who have fear, but they're courageous because they feel the fear and they confront the fear and they do it anyway. And everything that you need is going to be on the other side of fear. So we should never let fear stop us, but what we should do is to allow fear to be fuel for us to get us to where we're heading.
All right, Floyd. Uh it's so funny because I know the question I'm gonna ask right now, like there's a pattern to me here, right? Which is we put it out there and for
Mm.
like the third person, and then I'm like, all right, well now let's make it real. So now I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, so in the last 2, 3 years for you, like what was something that you were fearful of that you've actually like were able to like be courageous about? Can you mind sharing a story about a time you were recently courageous for yourself and the impact that it had on you and your growth?
Well, over the past couple of years, have I been fearful of? Uh, I think the one thing that comes to mind was just during the COVID season. COVID was real, and COVID really immobilized a lot of people in a lot of ways. And of course, I had a little concern, yeah, or I was a little afraid of what might happen during COVID in terms of business wise. A lot of businesses start getting closed down, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep pushing through. I'm going to keep pushing through. And I went back and thought about all the things that I've been coaching my clients on about, mental toughness and resilience and stickability and grit. And I said, okay, you've been teaching that. It's your time to believe that. And so I took some of my own medicine. Here we are today.
Yeah, well, and like the here we are today thing actually is really important because like one of the gains that I've been realizing is like there's no real end for most of us in here, right? It's like the only the point of the impact, the point of the business is to keep playing the game, right? They talk about
Yeah.
infinite versus finite games, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm hearing you, like you chose to play the infinite game and say somehow, no matter what, I will find a way. There are a
Yeah.
lot of other people who are going to like have to close down out of this here, but I'm going to find a way
Yeah.
to make it through. And
Yeah.
then you get to be on the other side of this here to play where we are right now.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I like
100%.
I'm enjoying the conversation we have. I like playing in this space of really acknowledging and being with the realities of like of choosing to make a dream come to life. You know,
Yeah.
outliers. If any of you are out there listening to this and you're thinking there's someone in my world who who is a high achiever and like just needs to hear this message that like needs to either feel seen, understand that like they're not alone, or understand that like others get it too. Would you take some time right now to just like pause this? You don't even have to pause it. Just listen to this here and send them a link. You know, just put like copy this, put the link out there and share this episode with them. I think there's a lot that Floyd is up to, and honestly, I just think like that space of being able to get this kind of insight and be able to look at things from this way and be able to like have a pathway to continue growing is incredibly important. So I ask you, like, just do your friend a favor, and send them this episode here. You know, Floyd, I feel like it's probably in a good space to start wrapping up for today. Um, we have room though to like kind of allow ourselves to like have like the slow descent. I've been on a plane recently, and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
we're about to land. You got another 30 minutes, but we're about to land. You know,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
um, we don't have that much time here. But let me ask you here. Um, what's like given our conversation so far here, the like I want to give you a little bit of free reign, a little bit of room to play. And like what's a topic or what's something that's like on your mind recently that you'd love to like bring into our space so we can spend another five or so minutes like just kind of bringing it to outliers here. What's something that's been playing out for you?
Yeah. I've been thinking about what makes a person unstoppable.
Uh,
What makes a person unstoppable? And a Muhammad Ali quote comes to mind, uh, and Adidas uses it as its slogan these days: "Impossible is nothing." Now, unstoppable for me means that whatever you throw at me, I'm going to defy the odds. I'm going to find a way. It doesn't mean that I won't get knocked down. It doesn't mean that I won't hit the canvas, but what it means is that I'm getting back up. So if you knock me down today, tomorrow when you're awake, you better look through your window because I'm coming back. So that has been something I've been thinking about, and I want to be I want to be able to help as many people as possible not to quit halfway along the journey, but to finish the job, to finish the race, to reach down and really find the strength and the energy. If you have to rest, rest, but don't give up, don't quit, keep moving, because it's that important. I think it was late Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do," he says, "keep moving, keep moving." That's the unstoppable spirit.
I lit something up inside of me. I love that question there. I often think questions are way more powerful than answers.
Yeah,
And it's fun to hear that question. Like you asked that, like what makes someone unstoppable? I like it gave me chills. It took my breath away for a second. I was like,
yeah,
oh, like it's a question worth answering. It's
yeah,
a question worth answering. And so am I getting this right now? Right now, you're supporting people. You're like you're working with people on like how do we just keep you moving no matter what? How do we keep you
yeah,
going with that? That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, it's bringing up up a lot in me, right? And on my end, when you talked about like the rest versus stopping, that distinction feels really huge, and I'll say it from this standpoint. The reason it feels huge is like um, I've thought about projects that I've left and then come back to. I'm like, oh, I think I was wrong. And then I went down another path, shiny object syndrome, or some guru was saying this is the right way to go, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Cause I'm like, I'm running into a wall, only
yeah,
to come back 2, 3 years later, or a year later, or 6 months later, and realize that this new thing I was doing was actually the same thing, just not. And that, for me in particular, it ends up being community.
yeah,
I'll do bring out community. I'll be like group, I'll do one-on-one. And it just comes right on back to community over and over again, no matter where I go. So I'm like, oh, okay, wait, hold on. Um, so I find like there's detours that get taken place, but then there's other times where it's just like the idea of stopping versus rest apart from me is like, oh, sometimes I do need to take some time off or
yeah,
to look at it or whatever. So like,
yeah,
can you speak to that? Because like I'm imagining that there's a lot of outliers here that pride themselves in the action that they take, and
yeah,
taking rest actually feels like stopping for them. So can you speak to a little bit of that distinction for me?
yeah, yeah, sure. So if you're tired, if you're feeling exhausted, then it's okay to take a break. It's okay to rest. It's okay to regroup. It's okay to reset. But when you stop, you're actually saying the journey is too difficult. The task is too hard. Hence, you know what? I'm not going to finish the project. I'm not going to finish the task. I'm going to quit on this. And if you start quitting on everything you do, then you become a quitter. You develop a habit of quitting. But if you decide, I'm going to take a break here, and the mind says, no, you're not going to take a break. You should give up. But you say, okay, I hear you, but I'm going to take a few minutes. And then you get back in the game. Then the mind realizes that you're not going to be a quitter. You're not going to give up. And then guess what? You end up pushing through. So it's very important for us and for people to understand that there is no way you can get to the top of the mountain without obstacles. There's no way you can achieve greatness without experience any difficulties. One of my mentors said, everything that's worth having is uphill. And once you're going to go uphill, you're going to get exhausted every now and again. So it's important to take a break, but don't turn around. Don't quit on yourself. Don't quit on your dream. Keep moving.
Well, I think Floyd, I'm appreciative of you. I think I have some questions for you. I want to just put it out here. We'll wrap up with I think 4 questions. Yeah, this feels right today. All right.
Yeah.
So the first question here is I'm going to call an outsight, right? So an outsight to me is something that is like something that you have that you want to let others know about, right? So what's a takeaway? What's a golden nugget? What's something that you want outliers to walk away with from this part of the conversation? What's your outside here today?
Your most powerful asset is your mind. As a person thinks, so you become. So be careful what you're thinking because it's going to manifest.
Thank you for that. Now we'll go on the other side here. So that was the outside that you had for other people. What's something you learned about yourself? What's an insight that you had here in this conversation? And if you had none, you had none. But like I want to leave room for that as well.
Well, it reinforces to me again the importance of really the power of an idea. And there are a lot of people who are out there and will be listening or maybe listening to this podcast who are struggling with the idea that they hold currently, whether good or bad. And it's always remember that there are consequences. Ideas have consequences, and so it's very important for people to know that the idea they hold um, it should be one that is positive and one that uh, was birthed in them for a reason. So if it's a great idea that you have, like the Wright brothers who had an idea to invent the aeroplane, then that idea was not just given to you um, just for you to keep it, but it was given to you for you to make it a reality. And so as we talk here, I am putting out there ideas, and it just clicked to me that we have to be mindful of the ideas we hold, because even in this podcast, other people are out there listening to our ideas. And I hope that the idea that I shared today, or the ideas that I've put out there today, will be transformational for somebody.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know really quickly here, Floyd, for immediate feedback. I've gotten a ton from this
Sweet,
conversation. You know what I'm saying?
sweet.
And just being in that space here. So yes to those ideas. And if you're worried, if your threshold was somebody, check. And but and outliers, you know, like my invitation is to let Floyd know about the impact this conversation has had on you. So like Floyd, for anyone who wants to reach out to you and let them know about like, hey, you know, I listened to this episode. I want to like firstly thank you and I want to continue down this path with you. What's the best ways for them to continue down in your world?
First, so they can visit my website, www.floydspence.com. They can also send me, if they're interested in reaching out, they can send me an email, info@floydspence.com. That's info at FLOYDSPENCE.com.
Perfect. Perfect. So then the last question I have for you, Floyd, I call it the time capsule question, right? And here goes the way that we frame it. You are going to leave a message for yourself that you will listen to 10 years from now. In that 10-year period, you have had 10 more years of experience. You have 10 more years of performing high. You've been like 10 more years of taking courageous action. The books will be out, like maybe we are book number 5, whatever it is, right? Your growth would have just been continuing because you are unstoppable. And there's a message that the invitation I have for you is what's the message that you would leave with the message, with the wisdom that you have in this current moment? What's the message you would leave for yourself to listen to again in 10 years to be reminded of?
You defy the odds.
And there we have it. And there we have it. Outliers, like just thank you so much for listening here. Floyd, let me direct this to you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the way that you show up. Thank you for changing your mindset back in 10th grade and not stopping since. Thank you for continuing to go against the odds and growing more and bringing more of your expertise and your experience on behalf of others. I'm excited for Outliers to spend time with you. I'm excited to see where your growth goes and just know that I feel really honored that you spent the time here today. Thanks again.
My pleasure. It was an honor being here as well.